With the season over, the dust beginning to settle, and us still waiting on a number of things like Boro's retained list to really look at the squad overhaul that's required, and the decision on Michael Carrick and his coaching team, among other potential changes, we can't really discuss the future of Boro yet until we know exactly where we're going to be, management, recruitment, club, and squad. In between now and then, I thought I'd do something pretty fun off the back of something that was dropped by the club a couple of days ago, which was confirming the direction of where Boro's new club Crest is going. I thought, why not have some fun and design my own? So on the website, Boro did put out an article saying that they have formally notified the FA of our intention to change our crest in line with our upcoming 150th anniversary, which of course isn't this upcoming season, it's the following season in 2026-2027. They mentioned that they officially publicised proposals a little over a year ago. I, of course, attended a workshop a couple of months ago to put together my thoughts, along with some other very lucky Boro fans who were able to contribute. Another thing that Boro have done really well is putting out online surveys, asking fans for their thoughts, and if I was to praise the club massively, it would be on how transparent and inclusive they've been with fans, openly wanting our input on what we would like from the new crest, and by the sounds of it, it's exactly what fans have asked for. If you scroll down a bit further, it mentions how many Boro fans have took part, the percentage of fans who wanted to change, didn't want to change, etc. But crucially, they take a hint at the directions to where this crest is going. So it mentions that there is an indicated favour for a round crest. Of course, most fans were pretty straightforward with their feedback, especially at the workshop, with that they wanted just a return to the previous badge, a badge that obviously was synonymous with Boro during a successful time where we were moving into a new stadium, we were a Premier League established outfit, we were reaching major finals regularly, we won our first major trophy, and of course, we're in Europe for 2 seasons, getting to the UEFA Cup final. So it's a badge that is synonymous with Boro's successful history, whereas the current badge is more synonymous with, well, languishing in the Championship, not really doing much other than being miserable. So most fans are in favour of a change, and we are wanting to go back to something like the old badge. It does say, obviously, a favour of the round crest, and important elements to be represented include the founding year of 1876, which of course wasn't on the previous circular band, the line, which is consistent with most Boro badges, a red and white colour scheme, and the full name of Middlesbrough Football Club, not Middlesbrough FC or MFC, as was discussed. Now, I don't want to go back into too much detail about the meeting and the workshop that I attended a few months ago, but basically, all them things listed were exactly match up with the feedback that most fans were giving at that event for numerous different reasons. Some people obviously wanted the transport, some people wanted other well-known Middlesbrough things, landmarks that are notable with the town in there, but it looks like Boro are going for pretty much a modernised version of the old badge, which is all well and good. So I thought, while I had some free time yesterday evening, I'd design my own version of the old badge, modernised, as well as adding a couple of bits to it as well. Now, the first badge, as you can see, is pretty straightforward. It's a modernised version of Boro's old badge, and it ticks, I'd say, all of the check boxes that we've just discussed. It's a round, circular badge. It's predominantly red and white. It has Boro's line on there with the full wording of Middlesbrough Football Club, and it has our founding year of 1876. Putting this by the side of the old badge, you can see, barring a few cool little added bits, like a few cool borders, the line looking a little bit more three-dimensional, a bit like the text, and a more modernised font. For me, that is what I would say the most basic version of a modernised, updated version of the old circular badge that a lot of fans were just happy for us to go back to. However, I kind of thought, I want this new badge to still have its own identity, to still feel unique in its own right. I don't want it to just be known as a newer version of the old badge. So I thought, what can we add to it to at least give it its own identity and make it stand out on its own? And I was thinking of things that are synonymous with Middlesbrough. Now, obviously, for what we gather, There's not going to be a transporter bridge. There's not going to be any boats. There's not going to be any blue. So a lot of the aspects that have been in previous badges are not going to be included. So with the simple elements of our name, birth year, colour scheme and lion, I thought, what else could we add that at least makes it stand out as a badge that is more Boro? And that's when I thought of the band. Throughout Boro's history, the one thing that I think has set us apart from other clubs that have red and white in the colour scheme, which is a common colour scheme for football clubs in and around the world, is that we have the white band. And that's always been a really nice, unique addition to Boro shirts over the years. So I thought if there was one thing we could take from Boro's identity that we could apply to the new crest, it would be a band. And that's what I did with this. So it's basically, the second version is the previous badge, but with an added red band horizontally through the centre. And I think it works quite well because you can then allow the birth year to stand out and it be white text over a red background as opposed to what it was previously, which is pretty simple. And I thought, okay, fair enough, that's a nice little way to add a band into Boro's crest. But then the obvious question is, well, we're a red shirt with a white band, not a white shirt with a red band, so does it really fit with the Boro kit? Not really, unless we flipped it. And that's when I come up with my third version, which, when I put this on X last night, link to my X profile, is in the comments, in a link tree link below. This was, I'd say, the more popular of the three variants that I created. And this one, I think, very much marries up to the idea of it looking a little bit like Boro's kit, with it having a white band through the middle as opposed to a red one, because Boro have always had red shirts with a white band. So I thought this, if you want to go down that direction, is a little bit more aligned to what I was talking about with adding a white band to Boro's crest. And plus, it flips the colours and I think makes it stand out a little bit more. Now, obviously, the question is, if this was to sit on a red home shirt, would it stand out as much? That I'm not sure on. I might have to mock this up on top of a Boro shirt to see how it would look. If it was to be on the top of a white band like this, I think it would look absolutely fantastic. But if it was on top of a fully red shirt, it might get lost. We might have to add another white border in there or something to make it stand out. But either way, I think this is enough of a difference to make this still a nod to the previous circular round band that everybody loved. That badge is beloved and is what many people want to see back. But I think it's also enough of a change, enough of an evolution, and is unique enough in its own way for this badge to actually stand out on its own 2 feet. And I think that's probably the fine balance that we have to strike, because a criticism a lot of people have, which I completely agree with, I can see the POV, is that we don't want to just copy the old badge and modernise it, because is that really evolution? Is that going forwards? Is that not just going backwards? And I get that completely. So for me, if there was a way that we could create the new badge but add something new to it, so it does feel like it's still moving on, I think something like this would be pretty cool, with a white band around the birth year with the text standing out in white on a red background. I think it all just stands out. I think the balance is pretty good. And of the three that I've made, I think that one would be my favourite, if not probably the first one, because it is just a straight up modernised version of the old one. So maybe we will just do something that simple. Maybe we will just go with a predominantly white badge with red text, red lion in the middle of it. Or maybe we'll try and do something a little bit different and add a little bit of Boro in there with the band. I'm not sure. Time will tell. But as a designer, as a Boro fan, I cannot wait to see the new crest, which, as I say, will be dropping not this season. It will become our official crest in the following season, in 26-27, and that is our 150th anniversary. So the likelihood is, from what I remember from the workshop, that initial badge will be released, but I think on the kit it will probably have some difference. It'll have a ribbon on it saying 150th or something. There'll be a slightly different badge, I think, for the 150th anniversary. It might be gold, as I say, ribbon on it with the 150 on it or something like that. And then going forward after that, they'll just remove the 150th, like a layer off the top of the badge, and whatever's beneath it, they'll refer back to as Boro's permanent badge going forward. But I thought I'd share that with you guys because it was a bit of cool creative work I did yesterday evening when I had nothing to do and a few hours to spare. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on which of the three badges you like the most and just what you'd like out of Boro's new badge in general. And that's it for today, guys. As I say, I am hanging around. I have got a couple of videos planned, but I'm waiting to see what the club do in the next couple of weeks, because there is an internal review right now which might determine what's happening with Boro's recruitment team, coaching team, and maybe even the head coach himself. So we're going to hang fire until we know exactly what's happening there before we discuss that. And I've also got a squad depth video ready to pretty much go, looking at the overhaul required this summer for Boro, but I'm hanging on to wait and see our retained list to see if any of the out-of-contract players may or may not be getting signed on, and who indeed could be released. That likely will be hopefully dropping this week. Boro do seem to do things a lot later than everybody else. But until next time, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, do hit a like on the video, subscribe for much more Boro and football-related content to come throughout the summer, and leave me a comment below with your thoughts. And until that next one, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.